Someone says one sentence and your whole body reacts. Your chest tightens, your jaw locks, your mood flips instantly. It could even be your ex, it could be a parent, it could be a coworker, it could be your child. It doesn't matter. One moment and you are gone. And I've been in this position more times than I would like to admit, but it's the reality. What if I told you that your trigger, and this is the most difficult lesson for most of us to understand and learn, but your trigger has nothing to do with the other person and everything to do with a battle that is happening inside of you. Here's the truth. Your nervous system reacts before your logic does. So by the time that you think, your body has already chosen fight, flight, freeze, or fix. And fix is my favorite one. That's just biology, right? But biology isn't the whole picture. And so when I studied human behavior and even ancient wisdom, I found something that explained triggers better than anything else. And you guys know I like to share whatever wisdom that is helping me in hopes that somebody else can gain from it. And so in Kabbalah, they call this the opponent. The part of you that tries to pull you into ego, into reaction, and into chaos. You don't have to be religious to get this, because I know it might seem like, a bit preachy or whatever it is, but this is just information. These are tools that have helped me in my life of, living this life of being triggered all the time and overthinking and just being anxious all the time. So I really hope that what I'm going to state in this video is really going to help you guys. So firstly, we're going to get into the normal human behavior loop. Okay. And then I'm going to draw something else there in a sec. And so normally we go through life not prepared, entering, a space with this type of person that is going to trigger you, that is going to get the worst out of you. You do not prepare yourself. Okay. So that's something that I have lived my life. I never prepare myself. So let's just start down here. No prep. Okay. That's where most of us stand, unfortunately. And then either their tone, what they said about you, a behavior, an attitude, whatever it is, right? That causes you to get triggered, which is normal, which then leads you into a match with your opponent, right? So your opponent is then going to pull you into your ego, into your insecurities, and into fear, and so on and so forth. So that's what happens for most of us, which then gets the party truly started, because that is when we end up, what is it? We end up reacting. We react. So we defend, we argue, we shut down, we explode, whatever way you choose to react. Okay? So this is how I have lived most of my life, and it is a very chaotic way to live. And when you live like this, you have no control, you have no power, you're constantly reacting to the situations around you, and life is going to trigger you if you are somebody that needs to learn the lesson of not living in your ego and finding peace and joy in these moments of chaos and people probably saying not the best things to you. That is your test here on earth. And once we realize this, we're able to actually win. I think about life in a way of a game. I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's just how I look at it. It does help me face my challenges. So this is how most people live. We go into things without any preparation. We get triggered, we get pulled in, and then we react. So this is the same loop, the same arguments, which is going to lead to the same outcomes. Insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result. Now, before I continue, I do want to share a quick story, and this has been something that I have tried to work on on myself. And as I said, just because I talk about all these things doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I'm over here literally putting what I am teaching you to practice on a daily basis. I have my phone, I have my notes, and it's work, but the results, are phenomenal. And again, the results don't come in one or two, like, you do it once or twice and then you have a result. No, it's like every single day is a battle. Every single day I don't want to do something. I want to get triggered. I want to react. And it's a battle every single day. And the beauty of this, which is what Ed Mylett talks about quite a lot, is when you do something over and over again for, I think he said about, is it like 3 months or like 90 days? Yeah, I think it's 90 days. When you do something over and over again, you don't get the result the next day. You get it in 3 months, you get it in 6 months. And so it's really important to be consistent with what I'm going to be showing you guys next. I'm going to share what situation happened in my life which enabled me to create this video for you guys. So someone in my daughter's life kept on saying something along the lines of she can't do it. Okay, whatever it was a tone, it was a mixture of different things that instantly triggered me. And I realized, again, I go deep into this, it's really because I was taught a lot of the times as a child to do certain things. And as soon as this person said it, I wanted to correct them. I wanted to fix. I wanted to calm it down. I had to do something at that moment. And that is where my anxiousness comes from as well. But anyways, I'm going to continue. So another thing I do want to say is that this person, they're not a bad person, right? It's just that this person, their internal world is anxious. They're controlling. They live in fear. And so they're always worried about the next thing. And every time they said it, I felt the heat in my chest. The old me would have reacted, would have said, stop saying that, let her try, or you're being negative. A whole argument would have happened because of this. But reacting is exactly how the opponent wins. Okay, so I want you to think about it in this way, because when I think about it in this way, it helps me a lot. And by the way, this is how I was raised. It was usually my father saying something and then my mom totally just demolished like, don't say this, and there would be a big argument that would happen, and that would cause me a lot of anxiety as a child. And I realized the same with my daughter. If I'm just continuously arguing with people and like correcting them and telling them how to be, that's what she's watching. And that's how, anxiety kind of builds in a child. And this is like totally a side note, but I think it's an important note to make. That is a behavior that I saw constantly growing up, which then makes sense why I'm doing it as well, because I'm repeating a pattern of my parents. Now I'm going to share with you the ascension loop, which is basically what to try to emulate when you are triggered so that you are back in control. Okay? So the first thing that I learned in Kabbalah and a lot of other teachings as well is to prepare yourself. And that is where also, the meditation, journaling, doing all these things in the morning, it really just prepares you to deal with these type of people. You might not be perfect, but that is why it is also important that when you know that I'm going to a party, especially during holiday time, you're going to meet those family members that are going to trigger you. The most important thing that I've learned is to prepare your little self. And what prepare means is to just talk to yourself before you go into the battle. It's like, they do a briefing before you go on to, even a sports game. They all huddle and they talk about their strategy and their game plan. Do the same thing. I know it might seem like a lot, but just like 2 minutes of just giving yourself a little bit of like, listen, you're going into the battle right now, and just like being aware of that, it does help you a little bit. And not a little bit, a lot. So what I like to do is I like to think about what are some affirmations or mantras that I say to myself as I'm going towards this situation, during the situation. So there's so many different variations. I like to say that this is a test. That's something that helps me. But again, these are things that you have to figure out on your own. And this is something that will come with practice and you can play with. I don't know what it is about saying this is a test that really shakes me up and puts me into like awareness. But again, find something that works for you. Also, something like the opponent doesn't win today. I think that's a really good one, again, because when you're going in, you don't want to lose. And I think that could, resonate with a lot of men, because men are a bit more, is that a thing? Men are more competitive, right? I feel like they are. Now, this is where you're going to get your test. The test reveals where your ego still controls you, because your ego is there to control you for the most part. When you have your mom, dad, your friend, your coworker, your boss, your friend, whoever it is, they tend to test you, meaning they're going to see something that is literally created for you to then get pulled into their worlds, into the darkness. And this is what changed my life. And I found this in Kabbalah. And again, I've heard about this so many times, don't react and all these kind of things. But the way that they explained it, it just like something in me just it clicked. And that's what I'm hoping that this video is doing for you. So when you get tested, you then do something called restriction. So as you're getting tested, you then are choosing to not react to your ego, to your insecurities, to the darkness, right? This person is really trying to get you there, and you are choosing not today, Jose, not today. And the reason why I know this works is because I have tried it all the other ways. I've tried to control, I've tried to yell, I've tried to scream, I've tried to curse, I've tried to control. I don't know if I've said that all. I've done all the other ways. None of them work. They literally keep me there in that same reality, in a loop. Okay? So that is why I'm making this video, because this actually does work. And this is where we all want to get to, which is light, higher consciousness, which puts you back in control. And oh my God, I hope you guys can see this, which puts you back in power, in control. The more that you do this over and over again, you're going to really realize how easy it's going to get for you when you deal with difficult people. It's going to be so easy, and it's going to trigger the crap out of people. By the way, I just want to let you guys know it's going to make them be even more mean and even more crazier. So I just want to give you a little bit of warning, because once they realize your light and your consciousness is getting high, they're going to try to grasp at whatever little they can get, and they're going to try even harder to provoke you. But once you really keep steady and you stay in that energy, oh my God, it is just beyond. I love how they teach in Kabbalah that you don't grow when the triggers are calm. You grow in the test, the exact moment that your ego gets poked. You don't get tested when you're comfortable, right? You don't grow when you're comfortable. So before I walked into this situation, I prepared myself. I literally told myself, the opponent doesn't win today. So when the comment that I know is going to comes up, instead of reacting to that person, I turned calmly to my daughter and said, it's okay, you can try. There was no ego, there was no fight, there was no sort of tension in my body, the clenching of the jaw, the anxiety in my chest. That one moment taught her confidence without me needing to attack anybody, to prove somebody wrong. And that was the biggest lesson, even though you might think it's not, like she probably won't even get it, but subconsciously she's noticing these things. And it does really play a huge role later on in life. Maybe not in that moment, as I said, the results don't come in that moment, which is a whole other conversation about childhood, which I'm not even going to get into. Neurologically, whoever regulates first becomes the emotional leader. The entire room sinks to the calmest nervous system. This was my biggest aha moment. Also, in the Bible, there's a verse that says, a soft answer turns away wrath. Okay? It's not passive, it's powerful. And so you can shift the entire moment with just how you respond to somebody's energy. Okay? Eckhart Tolle, one of my favorites. I'm actually going to see him next church. I'm so excited about. You're not reacting to the person, you're reacting to the pain they touch in you. Again, another, enormous aha moment that I had. Thank you, Eckhart Tolle. He's my favorite. So what this whole thing right here is all about is that you're not trying to change the other person, which is something that I should get a PhD in because I love changing people. You're trying to change the frequency that you show up on. No changing, no fixing. It's all about you. And so Kabbalah calls this, as I mentioned, restriction. Psychology calls it self-regulation. Neuroscience calls it emotional leadership. There's different words, but it's the same mastery. And what I want you all to understand is that you don't suddenly go from, being super reactive to suddenly just one day waking up and be like, I'm not going to be reactive anymore and I'm just going to respond and it's going to be easy. No, this is a process. This is a journey that takes a lot of practice. You're going to fail. You're going to suck at it. You go 2 steps ahead, 10 steps backwards. It's what's it called? Ebb and flow. It's a long journey towards where you want to go, but it is so worth it once you start, because you start realizing how many times you have reacted and you've literally ruined your day because of what one person on the road did. It's like insanity to me that we live like this. I mean, I live like this majority of my life. Another mantra that I really love is be the light, not the reaction. And I say this to myself over and over again, and it really does. It really, like when that jab comes in or something that I'm like, ooh, I'm like calm as, it's just crazy how calm you get. Everybody's journey is different, right? But the way that it at least happened for me, and I'm noticing with a lot of my clients as well, is that at first you're going to react, right? Because that's just your normal, the way that you've been wired and you've been living like this for so many years. You can't just suddenly switch. And so first couple of times you're going to react, the opponent wins. And then secondly, you are going to react, but then you might just become aware of it, because that's one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself is just awareness of when you react. And so that could just be the way that you win on that day. It's just by being aware, even though you reacted, even though you said some silly shit, but you are aware of it. That's again a win. And again, myself included, is that we win so many times throughout our day, but we don't acknowledge that. And I think that is really important to do. So then secondly, what happens is that you might react and then be aware of it, but then you might even stop midway and be like, oh, you know what? Never mind. I didn't mean to say that, or, whatever it is. I'm just having a bad day. And you're almost like apologizing, not apologizing, but you kind of are. And so that again is a win. Right? And we might think, oh, yeah, but you reacted. But no, it's like, it's a journey. It's a process. And then one fine day, you finally, when that person pokes at you and you pause and you say absolutely nothing, or you respond with clarity, with calmness, with respect, that is when the light is going to enter. And then one day that trigger doesn't even touch you. And again, that is the best feeling. Like that to me is wealth. That to me is abundance. When somebody can poke at you and you can just be like, all right, cool. Like you have won from me, if that's the kind of person you are. Because that's the kind of person I strive to be each day. I strive to be. Remember, I said I'm not that person yet. I strive to be. People don't control you. Your reactions do. So what I would urge you to do is to prepare before the moment, restrict inside the moment, and that is when the light will handle the rest. And that is my biggest lesson on this planet is this. The light is gonna deal with it. You don't need to constantly do. And I know as men, it's very difficult because you want to be in charge and you're the leader, but sometimes it's just about doing less in that moment. This actually happened to me with somebody else where they said something to poke at me, and I didn't react. And it was funny because I was FaceTiming this person and I didn't react. And they just like looked at me. They were like literally like waiting. Because they said it in a very rude way. And for me, I don't know if you guys resonate with this, but like disrespect for me is my biggest trigger. Maybe because I've been bullied in school and I've been disrespected by my parents. I don't know what it is, but disrespect, like if someone's disrespectful to me, I will go through the roof and I will lose it. But when this person did that to me, they said that their tone was just not right. They said something ridiculous, and I was looking at them, and literally I had no reaction. And this person was like waiting for me to say something back. And they were like looking at me like, come on, come on. And I'm just like, hmm. And it felt so good to do that. Like, you don't understand. Because usually I would be like, no, 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 but you do this. And we're like back and forth. Instead, I just didn't respond to it at all. I mean, that was a response. I didn't react to it. So once you start doing this, you're going to notice how amazing you're going to feel. And you're going to notice that other people's BS is not going to control your frequency. You're no longer going to be, I feel moody today because I just like things are not happening my way, or that my friend said this to me. And you're no longer going to be in that victim mentality, which is something that I used to do. I used to always say, oh my God, I'm so unlucky. Like things never work out for me. And especially when I was young, this started at a very young age started off obviously, not to blame anybody, but my parents did, that's how they were. And so I learned from a very young age that I'm just not privileged. I'm not gifted. I'm not great at anything. And I'm always trying to work hard and prove myself. And I feel like a lot of men, just hearing myself, I feel like they're going to relate to that. But it's all about just rewiring all of that garbage that has been programmed in you from a very young age. But once you do it, oh my God, like everything in your life shifts, your relationships, the type of people that you attract. It is phenomenal. This is the best gift that I'm giving to you guys, is this video. I hope you guys enjoy this video. If there is any part of this video where you're like, I really feel like this is what resonated with me the most, I want you to please put it down in the comments below so I can see what is resonating with you, men, because I need some feedback to know, is this the information I'm putting out? Is it helping you? Or even like, is it something that you would put to use? Because I mean, I get like the stuff that I put out is not for every man, because I mean, that's just not the content that I put out. I like to go more, a little bit deeper into these things. But I still want to know, like, is this stuff helping you or not? So let me know down below. I wish you guys all the best. I'm sending you guys a big hug, lots of kisses, and I'll see you guys in my next video.